Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Made it through another week. And couple things to talk about. You know, these next couple months are going to be a little bit dicey for me. May and June are typically my most busy months for trying to get things done around the house and outside. So, the content might be a little bit short or whatever, but we're trying to get out, and we've yet to miss a video. In like the last 5 years, we haven't missed a video. So we will try and get out 3 a week. But I just wanted to talk real quick. One thing I was watching, I watch a lot of YouTube because, I don't watch any news or, God forbid, any news or any really channels on TV except for old time shows. But I watch a lot of YouTube. I always am interested in learning new skills, and there are so many great channels out there. But one channel I was subscribed to for years, and I'm sure some of you are subscribed to him too. His name is Adam Booth. His channel is ABomb79. He's a machinist down in Florida. Real nice guy, And I've been following him for years, at least 6, 7 years, something like that, more. And it's funny because Adam, he's been going through a lot of things, getting different machine shops set up and whatnot. And he's still trying to kick out videos. But man, I'll tell you, when I tell you we have the best subscribers and commenters of any YouTube channel, it's true. I would put our group of people against any other channel. And he has to have the worst group of commenters I've ever seen in my life. They are just the most fickle, and it's a shame because I used to like to read through the comments and stuff, but I never seen such whiners and complainers than the people that subscribe to his channel. If I was him, I would just cut the comments off altogether. It's amazing. The guy just got a fan, okay, from a company called Big Ass Fans, and they make fans and toolboxes and workbenches, I think, or whatever. So they sent him this huge fan. It looks like something you would power a airboat on the Everglades, right? So he was doing a review on it. They sent it to him. The fan is $7,000, $7,000, right? So he spent, I guess, most of the video talking about the fan and how he was so appreciative to get it. Man, you should have seen the commenters in hhis video just throwing him under the bus, like, oh, you're a sellout. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, it wasn't like a commercial. He was talking about the fan, how it was going to help his shop, and a $7,000 fan. We all, that's pretty cool. We can't afford it. You and I can't afford a fan like that. Maybe you can, but I can't. But $7,000. And anyway, so I was just thrown back. I said, geez, some of these people with their comments, You know what happens in the society when we get so free that there's an anonymity, you're anonymous when you make these comments. You get so used to just throwing opinions out there, whatever they might be, that when you're online at a Dunkin' Donuts and then you say something because you're so used to being safe behind the keyboard and typing your little comments out, and all of a sudden you get smacked in the face, which I saw a guy the other day get smacked. It was so funny. I was so laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. The guy said something to this guy, and he turned around, he smacked him in the face, and the guy was shocked. He couldn't believe he just got the computer never smacked him back. How did this guy And I had to tell you, me and this other guy online were just laughing, saying, man, sometimes growing up where I grew up, you had to watch your P's and Q's. You couldn't just go around saying stuff. If you did, you would have to back it up. And if you didn't back it up, you would get beat down. So I think that's what's missing in today's society. There's too many people that are loose with their comments and things like that because they're protected behind the computer. But anyway, so I just thought that was funny. And A-Bomb's a great guy. More power to him. If he can get companies to send him $7,000 fans, God bless him. Next up, that's funny. We haven't had a rant in a while, but I just thought, and it's funny because a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. A lot of you guys know when to open your mouth and when not to open your mouth, I mean, sometimes it's nice to, but you got to be careful. You got to know when to show them, when to fold them. So the other day, I was walking on my walk at night, and I see hanging from the wires up in the, at the telephone pole wires, I see a roll of tape. So it was windy, and the roll of tape rolled all the way down, but there was still enough tape on it. It was about 8 foot high. So there I was, like a chooch, jumping up to catch this roll of tape. I got it. And it brought back memories. I said, do you remember when we were kids, we'd be playing hockey in the streets? And over here, we'd be playing hockey, and whenever a Con Ed truck would come by, we'd say, hey, hey, we'd run over to the Con Ed truck, like 6 or 7 of us, and go, do you have any tape? And and the Con Ed guys, they were cool, man. They were always like, yeah, and they drew us a couple rolls of electrical tape, because that's what we used to play hockey. And I just wanted to say a special shout out. For any of you retired Con Ed guys or anything like that, you were always cool to us, you were always great guys that when we ran up and said, you got any tape? You always threw us a roll of tape to play hockey. And that was great back in the day when you could do something like that. Today, they want to take your job. You give a kid a roll of tape, they got you on GPS and, on video, giving a kid tape, and they want to take your job. But back then, things were different. And so I appreciate those. You old Con Ed guys, you retired guys, really appreciate that. Okay, enough chatting. Let's get to work. I promised, I said, I made kind of a challenge to myself. I'm going to do 30 screwdrivers in 30 days. I won't put you through all that, but here's one I wanted to make that out of wood, because some people are saying, can you make them out of wood instead of, I know the golf ball looks a little wonky, but wait till you feel it in your hand. It's nothing like you think. It's totally eye-opening. But I said, let me make something that you might appreciate. I have some old exotic wood. Back in the 80s, we were buying a lot of exotic woods at the woodworking shows, and I got a couple pieces of nice exotic wood, and I got a copper can. Let's see what we can knock out. Okay, let's have some fun. I'm always into some fun. Look at this. Let's do a 10-minute screwdriver, okay? We got a hunk of wood, screwdriver blank, copper cap. We'll eventually need a little epoxy. Let's get this bad boy started. And we're calling this project done. You can see here what this looks like right now. I did this. A lot of guys like to see some woodworking and things like that, and I bounce around once in a while. Now this wood here, it is an exotic wood. This is what it looks like, okay? And I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's babinga or something. It's a weird, like, South American wood. And my buddy Abe Elias would know what this is, but. You see that grain? Some of you guys might know what it is. I don't know. It's one of them South American woods. You buy it. It's waxed. I had this thing for years. I made my sister You know, my sister bought one of those antique school bells. You know those antique school bells that they used to have and they're popular? Well, she bought one, and I made a stand to hold the bell for her, you know, up on her property. And out of a piece of this wood, I made a nice pull handle like this, you know, like this, but with rope coming out a little bit longer. And I'm going to put the video in if I could find it right here. It's the school bell test. Now, it's amazing because that video's old, you know, and it's still on my phone, believe it or not. Okay, so here it is. And like I said, we used a copper cap, the copper, the wood. Now, you would look at this, you say, boy, that looks like a comfortable screwdriver. But you know something? and believe me, I would love to say this is perfect. It's not. It's not. Believe me, this is 10 times more comfortable. This goofy, stupid golf ball is super, super comfortable and grippy, where this thing, it's not, you know, it's a wood, you know, I don't know, but some guys like the wood. So here we go. This is what we have. And for this one, interesting, right? 30 screwdrivers in 30 days. That's a challenge, right? I know some of you guys right now are saying, oh, geez. Another 3 weeks of screwdrivers. Anyway, next week, we have our Wednesday, okay, this Wednesday coming up, the Long Island, the 27th of April, 2022, in case this video goes a little, you know, down the line. We're having our tool meet, Long Island Tool Meet, and the Brush Barn, Frank Brush Barn, out in Long Island. And if you're in the area, it's always a great time. We're there from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. It's only a couple hours, but man, I'll tell you, we'll have a good time. You know, we haven't been there in a while because of this damn COVID. This COVID's kicking up a lot in the city, in New York City. I won't even go to the city now, but it's like, it's not as bad as the original COVID. It's like a bad sequel of a movie. It's not as bad, but it's more contagious, you know. But the media is trying to milk it for what they can, but they really can't because people aren't tuning in anymore. Okay, let's see what we can get to. Another project real quick. Okay, next up, a gentleman by the name of Harley Quinton, friend of the show, said, how do you polish out the plastic? Because, you know, when you turn it down, it gets all scraped up. And it is quite easy to do, especially on the lathe or even a drill press or anything that rotates. I buy these sanding pads, okay? Now, this one's a set of 6, but they also have sets of like 10 or 12. And it depends on the grits, okay? So this goes from a coarse grit to a super fine grit. I mean, that thing's like, you don't even feel nothing on there. Now, the bigger sets have grits in between. Like if this, let's say, for example, this was a 90 grit and this was a 120, they might have a 100 grit in between. But this is all I found that you need, these 6 grits. I bought these when I was doing my pen turning. And what you have to use these wet. They're sanding pads, you see, but you use them wet, and it creates a slurry when you're doing it. And I have a little film that I filmed of me polishing one of these. Let me show you what it looks like. Now, these are very simple to use. Basically, what you do is you work your way down the grits, you know, starting with the most coarse, going to the most fine, and using a lot of water to make sure. And then afterwards, you finish off with plastics. To give you a quick example of how that works, I'm going to just do the screwdriver. This is a user. This is one I use a lot, but I'll tell you a couple things that needs to be done. This is a beautiful Miller's Falls. Okay, you can see this is a vintage Miller's Falls. It's beat to heck, you know, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit, you know, address some of this, try and scrape it down. And the one thing, the corners are very sharp, and I don't like sharp corners on. I do love square shank screwdrivers, but I don't like sharp corners because if you're using and you pry one side or another, it always winds up gouging or denting or scraping. This is way too sharp, so I'm going to soften it down. I'm going to clean up the back again. It's just as a user screwdriver. Look at the back, yikes. And I'll show you what you can do just to clean something up, to get it back into service. Now here I'm using a coarse belt and only touching it for a split second to get rid of those cracks on top of the screwdriver. Okay, that's 30 minutes with the sanding pads finished off with some Plastex polish. And I have to tell you, there's no shortcuts with this, but I just wanted to get this down to show you the kind of, you know, what you can expect from just you can see here, I could have sanded this way down. I did the back here so you can see. Remember what the back looked like before, okay? Now look at the back. It's absolutely acceptable. You could do that with the whole screwdriver if you feel inclined to take that kind of time, but there's really no shortcuts. You can't use power tools because you have to kind of wet sand this in order to not burn it up and get the, you know what I'm talking about. But I left this over here. It's a little chowdered because I want to keep the name Miller's Falls, you know, but everything else, I took out most of it, you know, so this is a user screwdriver for me. Remember I was telling you about the edges here. Now, they still maintain the integrity of the square shank, but with a rounded over edge. And this is just what I like to use, and I won't have any problem using it. Unlike if you mince something out and then you say, I don't want to, you know, put scratches on it, but this is the original finish that was on there. I didn't go all the way down. So anyway, that one's in the can. That's one. Another screwdriver, one of the 30 in 30 days. Okay, we definitely covered a lot this episode, didn't we? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.